Welcome to my video on finding the surface area of a rectangular prism. So, we had this activity that we did in class. So, I'm just going to give you the measurements, but had you been in class, you would have measured the faces of a waffle box, which actually make a rectangular prism. So, side A had the measurements of 24 centimeters by 12 centimeters. And that gave us an area when we multiply the area of side A, we get 288 centimeters squared. And then we measured side B and got a length of 8 centimeters and a width of 12 centimeters. And the area, when I multiply those together, is 96 centimeters squared. And remember, a waffle box is a rectangular prism, so each face is making a rectangle. That's why we're using the formula length times width. And of course, C was 24 centimeters by 8 centimeters. And what you would have learned if you had measured the boxes is that after the A, B, and C were measured, then the other letters were the same rectangles as A, B, and C. So C ended up being the same as D. So it's 24 by 8, which of course is going to give you 192 centimeters squared again. And then E was the same as B, so 8 centimeters by 12 centimeters. And that gave us an area of 96 centimeters squared. And F is the same as A. So it gave us 24 centimeters by 12 centimeters, which is 288 centimeters squared. Okay, and what A and F ended up being is the front and the back, okay? And those ended up being the same, so let's fill out the measurements that are the same below. Oops. Technical difficulties here. Here we go. So A and F are the same, and this, of course, was the front and back. And then we had B and E were the same. And these were the sides. And then C and D are the same. And those, of course, are the top and the bottom. So surface area is the area of all the surfaces. So we just found the area of all the surfaces because a rectangular prism has 6 surfaces. So if we add them all up, we get 1,152 centimeters squared. Okay, so now we're going to look at a couple different methods. The first method is best used when you have a picture, because then we can label the front, the side, and the top. And let's take a look at number 1. So it says find the area, surface area of the following prisms. Okay, so there's going to be one here and then one on the next page. So let's label our front, our side, and our top. And once again, okay, like you would have done on the waffle box activity, we want to find the area of the front. Now, I have a length of 4, but I don't know the width. So this is a rectangle here, and opposite sides of a rectangle are congruent. So if this is 5 centimeters and this is also 5 centimeters, now we have a length and a width. So we can find the area. 4 times 5 is 20. Now you'll notice over here it says times 2, because remember we just talked above, there's a front and a back. So if the front is 20, then the back is also 20, so I can just multiply 20 by 2, and I get 40 centimeters squared. Now the area of the side, we have a length and a width already labeled, so 6 times 5 is 30. So I'm going to circle 30 here, and I'm going to write 30 times 2 because there's two sides, so 30 times 2 is 60 centimeters squared. And then the top. I don't have any of the sides labeled, but remember what I said when we started this problem. Opposite sides of a rectangle are congruent, so if this side is 4, then this side is also 4, so label it. And if this side is 6, this side is opposite, so it's also 6. So make sure you label those sides. And 4 times 6, of course, is 24. I don't have any more room in the box, so put it right here. And remember, there's a top and a bottom, so I'm going to multiply by 2, and I get 48 centimeters squared. Now, we just talked about surface area being the total of all the surfaces. So even though it looks like 3, I only found 3, I actually found 6 because I doubled all of them. So if I add these three numbers up, 40 plus 60 plus 48, I get 148 centimeters squared. Okay, if you were comfortable with that problem, then just pause the video and you can do number 2 without my help, and then you can turn it back on once you complete number 2 on your own. If you want to leave the video rolling, I'm going to roll through number 2 pretty quickly. So feel free to do whatever you choose. Okay, if you pause the video, welcome back. So once again, we're going to label the front here. So we're going to call this the front, the side, and the top. Okay, and we're going to do the exact same thing we just did. So we have a length of 5. We don't have a width for this rectangle, but opposite sides are congruent. So if this side's 10, then this side is 10. So label that, and 5 times 10 is 50. So put a 50 in this box representing the front, and we have to double it because we have a front and a back. So 50 times 2 is 100 centimeters squared. Okay, the area of the side. We have a length and a width, so we're going to do 4 times 10, which is 40. And we're going to double it because there's two sides, so 40 times 2 is 80 centimeters squared. And then the top, once again, just like the previous problem, they're not labeled. So look across, I see a 5, so this side is 5. And look across from the width, and I see a 4. And 5 times 4, of course, is 20. And then come over here. Area of the top is 20, but there's a top and a bottom, so I'm going to multiply by 2, and I get 40 centimeters squared. So surface area is the total area of all the surfaces, so we're going to add these three numbers up, and I get 220 centimeters squared. Now, it says write a formula for determining the surface area of a box or rectangular prism. Okay, and before we write the formula, we have to kind of think back to the volume formula, which was length times width times height. So I know the surface area is going to deal with a length, a width, and a height. Now, when we were looking at the rectangles individually, we had just a length and a width, okay? Because each side of a rectangular prism makes a rectangle. But when we look at the surface area formula, we're going to bring the height back into play, just like it was in play when we did volume. So what the formula does is take a look at the top, the front, and the side, just like we did here. Break it down. But it breaks it down in a little bit different order. Okay? So the formula says 2 times length times width. Well, the length here is here. The width is here, so we have to look up here. So the length times the width, and we have to double it because there's a top and a bottom. So we have 2LW, whoops, 2LW. And go ahead and put a T up here so you know that that 2LW is the top. And then we look at the length and the height, which is over here. So length and the height, because remember height is up and down when we're looking at the entire rectangular prism. And we're going to say 2LH, and this of course is the side, so put an S up here. And then we have 2 times width times height, which is basically the front. Here's the length, and here's here's the width, and here's the height. And folks, I just got that backwards. Sorry about that. The width and the height is the side. The front is actually the length and the height. Sorry about that. So let's change that really quick so you don't get confused. Oops. So you don't get confused. If I haven't already confused you. Hopefully not. Okay. So now we have the top, length and width, the front, length and height, and the side, width and height. And of course we doubled it because there's two that are the same. So let's look at how the formula works. And once again, after I do 4, if you want to pause it and try to do 5 on your own, that would be outstanding. So 2LW, so we're going to write the formula, plus 2LH plus 2WH. Okay, so what I like to do is label the picture. So we're going to label the length, the width, and the height. And now all I have to do is, like we learned earlier in the year when we replaced a variable with a number, we're going to take this formula, we're going to write it out exactly how it looks, but instead of putting the letters, we're going to put numbers. And here you don't see any symbols, but what does number in front of letter mean? Multiply. So we're going to multiply each of these 3 parts together, and then don't forget there's addition signs in between. So we're going to write 2LW, so I'm going to write 2 times 6 times 2, plus, and I'm just looking at the picture to get these numbers, 2 times 6 times 12, which is 2LH, plus 2WH, so 2 times 2 times 12. Okay, now we're going to box each part in because we're going to find the area of each part. Kind of like this is the same as up above, just a little bit different setup. And again, the formula can be used for a picture and even if we don't have a picture. Okay, but this is just a little bit different setup of what we did in 1 and 2. Okay, so 2 times 6 times 2 is 24, plus 2 times 6 times 12 is 144, and 2 times 2 times 12 is 48. So now add them up to get the total surface area, and when I do that, I get 216 centimeters squared. The label is already there, and I always like to circle my answer, and that's it. Now, remember, pause the video if you'd like to do number 5 on your own. So if you pause the video, welcome back. So 2LW, write the formula first, plus 2LH plus 2WH. So there's always 4 steps to this. We got the formula, we replace the letters with the numbers, we figure out what each of the 3 parts are, and remember, this is the top, the side, and the front. Okay, and then we add them all up, and we get our final answer, which is our surface area, which is the total area of all the surfaces. So we're going to label length is how long, width is how wide, and h is the height, how tall it is. So we're going to take 2LW, and we're going to write it out. So 2 times 14 times 3 plus, and sometimes people like to box it in as they go. I typically like to do that. I forgot to do it on the first one, but that helps you keep them grouped together. Plus 2 times length times height, so times 14 times 5. And folks, be careful when you're writing it. Make sure the dot's in the middle, and then if I ever give you measurements with decimals, make sure you make the decimal really tiny so you don't get confused when you're typing this in or figuring it out in your head. And then the last part is plus 2WH, so we're going to put times 3 times 5 and box it in. Okay, now I'm going to figure out each part. So 2 times 14 times 3 is 84. And 2 times 14 times 5 is 140. And 2 times 3 times 5 is 30. So add them all up, and you get 254 centimeters squared. Okay, now you're ready to do your homework and your classwork. So good luck and have a great day.